Putin is in Beijing with Xi about Belt and Road. So the changing international world order, something we're all trying to figure out.
Originally was that it couldn't be censored by any government organization, and that it would be able to, it would be like gravity, and that everyone gets to use it, and no one could stop anyone from doing it. So how do you feel about the idea of censoring this cryptocurrency to certain groups?
Well, I wouldn't use the term censoring. They say that money is fungible. And if you think about crypto, I would say crypto is global. So it's never been the case that you can stop a crypto transaction from happening peer to peer. But we live in a regulated world when it comes to money services and financial services. Actually, since 2013 in the United States, crypto exchanges have been regulated. People say crypto is not regulated. That's a myth. So we always, as a society, we always have measures in place to deal with the potential risk for illicit finance. In crypto, that comes across with anti-money laundering regulations for those crypto traders. I wouldn't say that we're talking about censoring. You're really talking about regulating the businesses that deal with crypto transactions. That's what we do in the world of finance. When it comes to the United States, that's why we have the regulations, and it's important to note that the weak points are other jurisdictions that may not be following those rules and implementing those rules. Those are where the gaps are, and groups like Hamas or any other bad actor will go to those locations and exploit those platforms in order to get to bypass those safeguards.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Support this great content by hitting the Cash App and by joining the Patreon.
And we have the truth being told about crypto. Yes, crypto is global. And since 2013, crypto has been regulated. And we know Liberty Reserve was shut down May of 2013. And don't forget, guys, they was moving billions. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you.
What breaks when you see this moving yields so quickly?
Well, like you always keep an eye on credit, right, is the high yield starting to really impact the corporate bond market, and we've seen some of that. You look at what's going on with global credit conditions, and we've started to see some weakness in a lot of different credit markets. So it's been an accumulation of forces, and we've had some incredible moves. Even after the rally we've had today, right, we have an almost 3 sigma move on the week, even after the rally, right? So that just shows how incredible big these moves have been. And it also is something that the Fed clearly has started to take into account. We've had 5, 6 Fed speakers now make reference to the bond yields as something that actually means that they have less work to do themselves. They are taking it into account in financial conditions as well.
Foreign buyers stepping away. And he sort of dismissed that notion, even though on Wall Street, charts have been going around with China stepping away. I want to read the quote from Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Buying by overseas entities has actually been pretty robust this year. So there have been some small changes, but I think by and large, they've been buying robustly. Which seems to go in the face of what many people think on Wall Street, that, China's just not in the position to buy anymore. They don't have those excess reserves. Maybe politically they don't want to do it either. And Japan is also stepping away. What do you think?
So when you analyze China, right, the big change is that they used to be huge buyers, and they're definitely not huge buyers now. Like, we can talk about exactly how much they're selling, but the big change is that they're not big buyers anymore, right? So we track Chinese intervention all the time, and we've had more intervention in August, more intervention in September, right? So the pace of reserve losses is maybe 30 billion a month now, and some of that's going to be funded out of treasuries. So there's probably some selling there. But I think really the big picture is that supply is going up, right? We need demand to go up somewhere as well. And it's not China for sure. It's probably not Japan either, right? So really, if you look at the big picture, it's actually the domestic U.S. investors have had to come in and fill the gap. And so far, up until very recently, the T-bills yielded way more than the bonds, right? So it's much easier to park your cash in the very short end rather than go out and take duration risk. Now that's kind of corrected, but essentially U.S. investors, households even, have been helping to fill that gap, and they've been doing it mainly through T-bills. And that's a part of the big reason why the long end of the curve, they had to kind of come up at a better yield point to suck in demand. And it'll be very interesting to see what happens when the yield curve has a positive slope. Is the demand dynamic going to start to shift? I don't think we've seen it yet, but that's one of the indicators we're watching right here.
And we have all the analysts coming out. We haven't seen bond yields move like this in over 20 years. And we know the crypto teacher talks about yield rates on a daily basis. Now we have China and Japan pulling away from buying United States long-term paper. They know the dollar is coming to an end when it comes to the world reserve currency. Yes, the dollar is still going to be here, but it's about to be unseated. It's going to lose its power to China's digital yuan backed by that digital SDR. And that's the reason why we hear the drums are beating. We know China is about to move on in. And all the events that we have right now are nothing but distractions, so then therefore they can move us over to this fourth industrial revolution, where the robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And you know the crypto teacher gives you the truth, nothing but the truth. Yes, the truth hurts, but it sets you free. And I know because I'm giving you the truth, you're going to hate me. But remember, guys, I'm just a watchman on the wall. And remember, my people perish from the lack of knowledge because they reject it. Not because it's not there, it's because they reject it. And we're seeing the sheep being distracted on things that don't matter. Today is Sunday, and we know the Roman circus still is going on. People are watching games while they're watching their nation being crumbled right in front of their eyes. Remember, you do not want to be caught on the wrong side of history. Get in the lab. And remember, the crypto teacher told you.
Much for having me back. These events, we created a new asset class called event contracts, and they operate and you can trade them the same way you trade other derivatives, other options. And we are the first CFTC regulated exchange where you can trade on the outcome of these events. So some of the examples of markets you can trade on are the government shutdown, inflation level, Fed interest rates, among a lot of other ones.
Well, to clarify, what we know is that obviously the Israeli authorities have said that they've seized a certain amount. The key thing that this points to is that there's actually a digital paper trail. So we're able to see when bad actors have actually used cryptocurrency, there's a way to trace their transactions, right? The blockchain data is traceable. Again, that digital paper trail actually has led to disruptions. It's led to seizures. What we don't know specifically is, well, how much has actually been used. Those numbers that I think that we've seen in reports need some context. What may be happening on the ground is, you have in certain territories, you have over-the-counter brokers that may be serving Hamas and may be serving other customers. If those brokers, for example, have a link to Hamas, their accounts could be seized. It's possible that their accounts could be seized, and those accounts could include not just the crypto that Hamas is using or has used, but other users as well. So the numbers may be just a little, may require a little bit more context. We don't know exactly how much has gone to Hamas. But the key point is that the fact that those transactions occur allows for disruption.
As Russia invaded Ukraine, about how that country and Russian oligarchs were moving funds around with crypto, and we're hearing now more and more about how Hamas may be funding certain operations or getting donations via crypto. Do you have any sense of how much of these funds are in crypto versus fiat currencies or versus, for example, the U.S. dollar?
Well, if you're talking about Hamas, right, the universe of their funding is vast in general. Hamas has a mix of sources. You have to think about it, right? They are doing taxation. They have businesses. In fact, U.S. Treasury actually sanctioned the Hamas Investment Office. Yes, that's an actual entity. Last year for its portfolio, which was $500 million in cash with businesses, real estate, mining, businesses that were across the globe. So we don't know, in terms of crypto, what we've seen. I used to look at some terrorist crowdfunding campaigns several years ago. Typically, those campaigns, which maybe can elicit funds right away, they tend to be short-lived, because if you do public solicitation of crypto, you're raising your profile. You're sort of basically saying, hey, investigator, look at me. This transaction is traceable. Now I've given you a trail to go after me. So I would say crypto, with my experience looking at terrorist financing, is not the major source of a group like Hamas. They have plenty of other sources. Crypto is probably a small part of their overall.
And yes, guys, you heard that correct. The CFTC approved event contracts. Now, guys, they can't approve a spot Bitcoin ETF, but they can keep the casino wide open. And that's how you know, guys, you're in Babylon. And then, of course, guys, when we look at blockchain, it tracks everything. We know that it's a digital paper trail. And we know a criminal is not going to be wanting to use blockchain when they can just use fiat currency. Remember, the narratives that are put around Bitcoin and crypto is by the mainstream media. And who controls the mainstream media? That's right, the NWO, the master magicians. So remember, Bitcoin came about in the 2008 crisis. The NWO used the Hegelian dialectic. Bitcoin is for the little man against the big banks. And of course, all along, the big banks and big corporations were funding Bitcoin and crypto from the beginning. And this has to be one of the greatest plans the NWO has ever pulled off. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in an ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance, Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate. Not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID 33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.